guys, welcome back to the layout, and I'd like to say hi to all those subscribers and anyone else watching because this is the first time I'm showing my face, so hi. So now that we've got that out of the way, let's get started on this layout update. Hey guys, welcome to layout update number 5. This layout update video will be a bit different than what you're used to on my layout updates, which is usually just showing you what's going on in the layout and what I've got. I will be showing you some things I've got, but in this video I'm going to be showing you what's going to be going on, the full track plan of the layout, and what's going to be going in places such as right here where this station is, over here, and what's back here behind me. So now that I've told you that, let's get started by looking at the layout and what's going to be going on. Starting out at the front of the layout, we're going to be starting on track 1, which is the outer track here. And trains will be running counterclockwise, going around this way like this. And currently, right now, there's just a old Mark's Garage station and a milk car unloading platform, and then another signal. These are not going to stay here. These will probably go on a shelf that will be in the room. What I will be putting here is most likely an MTH mainline passenger station, and it will be facing inward. That way, so the platforms are going to be on this side, not the outer track, because the outer track is what I'm going to be using for freight trains, and the inner track will be for passenger trains. So it's just going to be a passenger station. Then this side will probably be a freight station side for any goods or anything coming to the town. And I'll talk about the town later. So now that we've seen the front part of the layout with the outer track, let's move down. So moving down, we see that the tracks continue, and they continue parallel to each other. So they're far away here, and then they move down closer to each other, but they are still parallel. And basically nothing will really be here, just ballast, some ground cover later, and then there will be maybe some junk lying around the tracks, but nothing else really here. This gate man and all this other stuff over here will not stay, but these two tracks will stay. And then to the right here is a platform that I've created. Let me move back a little. Yeah, there's this platform here that I've created, and it can store 2 engines basically on each track. The back track has a 785 Hudson and one of my GP9s, and then my Commodore Vanderbilt. It was mainly built so I can store my big boy on it, because my big boy will not be able to go under the layout, which I will talk about later, and it would not be able to go onto the turntable and where the roundhouse will be, and I'll also be talking about that later. So this is just for the big boy and any other engines, and most likely what will go here will be either an MTH shed that is kit bashed so it can fit here, or I will create a shed with either a kit or using some wood, styrene, and maybe some other materials. So now that we've seen this part of the layout, let's move on down and across the table. So moving down from the shelf that we were just on and the turns here, we're now on top of the table, so I can't have my tripod, so sorry for any shakiness and the focusing, but these tracks continue around to here, and they continue there, and over here there will either be a mountain of some sort that the trains run through, or there will be some accessory, a building, factory, or something like that. And then here's the center where there's just some sidings right now, but these will not stay here, and their trains will go under the layout, which I'll talk about in just 1 second. So these tracks continue around, and they continue to right here, and then they go down the back stretch. So now that we've talked about this turn, let's talk about the back stretch. Here's the back stretch of the layout. This is the longest straightaway on this layout. This is where I like to film lots of the long passenger trains going by. And these two tracks continue. That switch right there will be there will be a switch like that right there, but it will probably be an 072 switch or something, and I'll talk about that a little later. But right here, there's an 072 switch that is on this turn that I'm over right now, and this turn will go over to this track. This track will later be a ramp that will go down to the bottom of the layout. So basically, pardon me, I had to swallow, but these will be on a ramp, and they will go down to the bottom of the layout. And the ramp, I would like to have it down by, or a little past that crack. So basically, I want it to be below the table by basically that red caboose that's sitting right there. And these cars are just sitting here right now. It's just my Christmas train cars and some post-war cars, and they obviously won't be here. But this will be the ramp that will go down to the lower level that I will talk about after we are done looking at the whole loop of the layout. So now we have looked down here, let's go to the other end of the backstretch. We are now at the other end of the backstretch. Here is that red caboose where I want the ramp to be under the table, so basically by right there. And here's that switch I was talking about. This will most likely be a 072 switch that will curve off and go to over here, which will be the engine facilities and roundhouse and turntable, which I will talk about later when I talk about the town, which will be over there, roundhouse here, and the lower level, which will be under where this pop-up is. So this was this part, and it then the outer tracks then curve, and right here there is just this mountain for now. And now I will talk about what will be going right here. What I would like to go here is a Menards American Light and Power Factory, which is a very nice accessory, which I've seen a lot of videos and comments on YouTube about it, which is why I want to get it. There will probably be a switch right around where that wire connects to the track there, and it will go around and go into the factory, and I can then load or unload coal cars here, and then I can have coal all around here, maybe a coal loader or something. And then I could have more power related features around this corner right here, and I'll talk about this stretch of the layout right now. Here's this stretch of the layout, there's the corner, and here's the mountain as before. But this stretch is a place where I also film passenger trains such as the Empire State Express and the Hudson. And by the way, that is a great engine. You should check out my review of it and maybe just buy it. It's from the Century Club. And these tracks continue here and go around also where that freight train is, which I can talk about a little bit later. And over here, related to the power plant that would be over here, I could have oil derricks, and I could also have coal loaders where engines could dump coal, and I could use some of my post-war stuff and just kind of blend it in to the more scale style stuff, which I will be using, even though I have semi-scale cars such as these here. So now that we've looked at this stretch here, I can then go around to the next stretch. Now this turn continues, and then there's this small straightaway right here where the aluminum cars and the two orange reefers are. And then the trains will curve around right here, and there's the Southern 4501 Mikado from 1992. And then it curves back to where we started, and I'll talk about that curve in a second. But this all right here, this will be a big mountain that trains will run through, and that will basically just be my big mountain on the layout, because I love building mountains. As you see, here's one from my old layout. But this will be a mountain. It will have this kind of curved bottom that will kind of go around like this, and it's going to be like they cut it out. So then the roundhouse and all will fit below. And it will all stretch up to the top where this bulkhead is, where that air conditioning and all is. And that right there, where that light is shining very brightly, that, let me zoom in, and sorry for the buzzing. This right here will be a shelf that I will have trains either sit on, and there will be plugs and coax, which is for TV, so I can hook up stuff. Let me zoom out again. So I can put my Railscope TV up there, so it won't have to be down on the layout like it is now. And that will be my big mountain, and I'll have some snow at the top, and I think it will all be built around this corner right here. So we'll all, like, see how this kind of all is built around this spot right here? It will all be built around that top corner right there. And that's what I want it to be, so then I can have some snowy trees up there. So now I've talked about this mountain, let me get off the table and show you the last little curve of the layout. So I know I am off the layout, I'm still not using my tripod, it's just so I can move the camera around. So this will be a tunnel here, so you won't be able to see these later on. And the trains will run through and come out right about where this Mikado and this last passenger car is. And by the way, this Mikado and all those train cars, except for that State of Maine boxcar right there, came from Waltz Trains in Berlin, Maryland. You should go down there and check it out, or go up there depending on where you are. You should check it out because it is a very nice store and he's a very nice man. But back to the layout, it will come here and none of this junk will be there either. This is just all sitting there because I'm working on the layout. And it will come around and right about here, and here's the bridge. This will be a lift bridge, but truly it won't be a bridge to start out. We'll just have this track sitting on a board. But I would like to make it into a curved bridge that will then lift up separately from the layout. And I'll probably have to build the bridge myself because no one makes the curved bridge unless you have someone custom make it for you, but I'd rather build it myself. And yeah, this will just be a lift bridge. And now we're back to where we started, at where the passenger station will be. And just to remind you, that will be an MTH passenger station. So now that we've looked at the track plan of the layout, let me talk about some more specific things, and that will be under the layout, the roundhouse, turntable, and engine facilities, the town, and then I want to talk about the shelf that I was talking about for putting accessories on, and then one other thing. So let's talk about those things now. So we are under the layout now. Let me show you. Here's the pop-up. See, here's the hole that I'm in. There's that foam from before. But we're down under the layout. Let me turn a flashlight on. There we go. Well, we are under the layout. And right up there is where the back of the layout is. And right where I'm shining the flashlight will be a ramp. I can turn that off now. But there will be a ramp. Sorry. But there will be a ramp that will come down to about where that crack in the drywall is. And that will be the next lower end table. And over here where all these boxes are, there will be sidings for my long passenger trains and freight trains, so I do not have to keep them in boxes or on the layout like they are right now, because it's very annoying and it just doesn't look good. There's lots of junk under here, like track, more track. These boxes have scenery in them. See, there's just tons and tons of boxes. They just go on. It's like they go on forever. They're just everywhere. There's a ZW right there. It's just everywhere. But all of this will be most likely trains, and there will be less boxes on the layout. Like these boxes right here, these white ones, have trains in them, and they will be sitting on the lower level. And the ramp will come down, and most likely I won't be able to run a big boy down, but I will be able to run down say a Hudson or a, sorry for the flashing, but a Hudson or a GP9 or any other kind of shunter or diesel. So now that I've shown you what will be under the layout, let me show you and talk about the engine facilities in Roundhouse. So right here is, I'm going to show you, there's that switch which will be an 072, so larger engines will be able to come in, and they will come in and follow a similar plan. They'll be split offs for things like water tower, sanding tower, and more stuff. This mountain will not be here. There will be a mountain there. But right here in the center, there will be a custom-built turntable that I'm going to make. And it's, in my opinion, will be cheaper to make one and just kind of copy off some others than to buy one from, like, River House Studios. I forgot if that's the right way to say it. No, Millhouse River Studios. There we go. It would be easier to make one than buy one from them because it's very expensive, and a big one is even more expensive. And then behind it will be a Cobra kit that is actually quite pretty good for its value. I will be buying the more low-end one, not the very detailed one. I'll be buying the one that I can then detail myself. But it will be a kit, so the cheapest one is to build it and paint it yourself and just do everything yourself. So I'll be probably buying that kit at some point and building a turntable. And it's a 3-stall roundhouse, and then I can maybe add on later another 3 stalls to make it a 6-stall. But I truly just want 3 stalls so I can then store like engines such as the Empire State Express, an engine like this, a Commodore Vanderbilt like sitting there, or any of these kind of style Hudsons, or anything just around that size, even diesels. I just want to be able to store at least a couple in a shed and then have some other stall tracks just sitting outside. So now that we've talked about this, oh, one more thing. All of these sidings, no matter where they are here, that's not going to be a siding, as I said before. Just all of these sidings, like these, the one behind there, and all of these will not be here. There will be buildings and other things. And now that I've shown you and talked about the sidings and all that other stuff, I will now show you where the town will be. So this will be the town. It will basically be the beginning will be the station starting here, and then a main road. Let me zoom in, and again, sorry for any of the sound that is picked up from zooming in. Back there, you see that switch. Sorry about the focus. There's a switch back there, and there will be a portal that will go into the wall, like at the tunnel coming out of a mountain. Like I said, let me zoom out again. There might be a mountain there, so then it would be a tunnel coming out of the mountain, and the main road will come down straight along this table, basically right along this crack right here. This crack right here, and it goes all the way down. And then I'll be using probably MTH and maybe Lionelville buildings that are more scale-like. And I don't want to use Menards buildings because not all of their buildings for towns and cities are all alike each other. So I'd rather use MTH and Lionel that are more alike. And then I'll be using them. I'll probably be using a Lionel or maybe a Menards train store or an MTH train store that will be more out of town, which will be more around here. And then the trains will be all behind. There will also maybe be another crossing somewhere. I don't know, maybe a crossing here. I really don't know. I don't really think there'll be another crossing. There will be a crossing back there that goes across into the mountain or just into the wall, and I'll just make it look like it's a mountain. And the main road will continue, probably curve around here, and then I probably will have to make it curve that way and just go across maybe a bridge because the ramp will be there into that wall, like it's exiting town. And the road will continue as a work road or a maintenance road that will go into the engine facility. So if anyone works for the railroad that lives in the town or something, they can then go here. Or that works in the town, because technically there will be no houses on this layout because I don't have enough space. So I might maybe put a backdrop or something along that wall so it looks like there's a more suburban area, not as much as a town. And what I am kind of trying to model is sort of a slight representation of Kensington, Maryland, which is where I live. It will be very, very slightly modeled after because it's kind of hard to model Kensington because of the awkward shape. But there is a 2-track main line that runs through Kensington. There is a station that looks like the MTH station. And there is a main road and buildings such as, and it's like MTH and Lionel buildings. It's not separate buildings, and there is a train store, which is the one I go to that I've talked about before. It is Lionel Buy and Sell Potomac Trade. So if you ever want to go there, you should go, because it's a great store, and like I said before in one of my early videos, the owner is a bit grumpy, but he has good feelings, and he likes trains. And yeah, so that's basically will be the town. That is to come later, because before any of this happens, I have to get home a soap, which is definitely coming soon, because I'm just tired of loud trains with fast track. I will be getting new lights, because these just floodlights, and one light bulb is not doing enough. I'll be getting lights that go into the ceiling. And yeah, so I've told you all that it's going to be happening. And wait, there is one more thing, so let me now show you what I was talking about before about these buildings, which is the shelf. Here is the back wall, and there's the back stretch. And there's a bulkhead which has air conditioning in, because see, there's some ripped out ceiling, and then that duct goes all the way along there. See, there's a vent which keeps this room nice and cold or warm depending on the year or time of year. And I will probably build a shelf that drops down about maybe like 8 inches below that. It'll go all the way along and in front of that window a bit. And I will have some older accessories that I don't want to put on the layout, but I still like, and I'll have them hooked up to push buttons that I might put here on the layout or somewhere, so I can then activate them. Maybe I'll use a Lionel SC1 or SC2 to activate them with the Legacy or TMCC system. But I will be putting them up there. And then probably in the center, I'll probably have, okay, so there'll be accessories on each side, more like. Then in the center, I'll have a bump back trolley and a bump back, like a game car or something like that. A system just so I can run those. Because I do have a bump back trolley, and I want to get a game car because I like some post-war items, as you can see, because I have post-war oriented Century Club items such as the 773 or the 726, and then I have the 736 Berkshire and the 671 Turbine. And that was almost this whole shelf. There's still the identical twins, which is these semi-scale Hudsons, and I'll talk about those another day. But that'll basically just be that shelf, and then I've told you everything else about the layout. So now let's just talk about some other things, which will be maybe things I got and any other things that I can think of. So I've been having snow days, just like everyone else that's either on the West Coast or the East Coast, or even the Midwest, wherever. So I've been also, that gives me time, sorry about me just stuttering, I have time to go to the train store, which is Lionel Buy and Sell, as I said before. And this is one of the items I got one day. This is a Père Marquette Lionel boxcar. And it's very nice, and I got it for a great deal. It was only $8, which is kind of a crazy price for a nice boxcar like this. Die-cast trucks, opening doors. Come on, open. There we go. There, that door opens. There we go. But the doors open, and die-cast sprung trucks, as you can see, and die-cast couplers. And it's a nice car, and it's a nice addition to my collection, and you'll see that running at the end of the video. So now let's look at the next item. Here's another item. This is actually not a scale item. This is a more post-war item. It's from probably the 50s and maybe the early 60s. It's a 64, 62 NYC gondola. It's a bit dusty, as you can see, but it was a nice deal because I wanted to add another train car to my post-war collection. As you can see, I have some back there, and there's others scattered around with the space cars here. But it was at a good deal. It was only $13, but it was marked as $15, so I just talked him down a little. So it was a good deal. So I got it, and let's move on to the next item. Well, here's the next items. It's actually just 4 pieces of Lionel Fast Track 10 inchers. It might seem silly because I already have a ton of fast track, but I have enough to line the 2 tracks. But I always feel like when I'm just fooling around with sidings for now, since I don't have Homo Soap down, which will be coming soon, as I said before, and I'll be getting, and they come in 4x8 sheets, and I'll just be putting them all around. That will take some time, but I just always feel like I just need straights because these sidings are mainly made of curves. See, they're just all windy and curvy. So I just got some more straights just for like $5 a piece or something. And I just got them, so I'll be using them somewhere. And I will definitely be getting more fast track and tubular track for under the layup. So I can then not have to pay as much. And yeah, so I'll be getting more track and I'll be using this somewhere. So now let me just talk about one more thing before we kind of wrap up. Back to the matter of track. Sorry about the shakiness right there. I almost dropped the camera. But I will not be using fast track because it is a bit pricey. Pardon me. But I will be using tubular track, which looks more like the track that's on those shelves. It's just ties and rails. And I will be using that for the ramp that comes down, which will be under there. And all the sidings that will be under there. Because you don't need to see the track that is under there. And I'll also be putting curtains along the side of the layout because there's just tons of stuff under here. But you won't need to see the track, so I don't need to use this more good looking fast track. Sorry, there's something stuck in my throat, but I will be just using tubular track because it's cheaper and you don't need to see nice track under the light. It can just be simple track. And one more thing before we run some trains and wrap up, is that these shelves will be most likely replaced by Glenn Schneider's shelving because his shelving looks better. I need shelves that are longer, and basically, yeah, it's just his shelves are way better than mine that I built. I built these like years ago. So basically, that's it. So let's run some trains and then we'll wrap up.
You are good to go. Over. Over. Roger that. Out.
guys enjoyed this layout update video. I will be posting more videos like this one, updating you on the trains and anything I get and the layout. I'll be doing more reviews and also be doing some more running videos. You should also go check out my Facebook page, which is it's Sydney Flumbum, and I will be slowly increasing what's on that page as time goes on. Just right now I don't have a lot to put on there. But I hope you guys enjoyed, and please like, subscribe, and tell others about this YouTube channel and all my great videos. I'm Sydney Flumbum, and I'll see you next time.